This is my 89th video on my work with OO gauge. See part 1 of this series for my reasons for getting into OO gauge when I already had a lot invested in working in N gauge and didn't really have space available for a large, fully operational OO gauge layout. Also see my lengthy series on my N gauge railway modelling for smaller and more complex scenery and smaller scale trains running. This part is just a little teaser introducing a bunch of things that just got delivered to me, which will hopefully have their own day on the layouts and feature in future videos in days to come. This Wednesday brought an unusual, indeed unprecedented number of deliveries. Both Canada Post and DHL stopped by and brought me altogether 5 packages that I'd been waiting for. So, as there's quite a lot going on at the moment and progress on some things may be a little slow, I thought I'd just make a quick little video to introduce these quite interesting items. And here they all are. As you may well imagine, unpacking these took some time, and the packaging generated a lot of garbage and recycling. They arrived with me in Canada after shipping from the UK, apparently unscathed except for a coupling hook coming off one of the coaches. I bought this set of 6 used LMS coaches from Rails of Sheffield. If you're at all familiar with my model railways, you might ask why I would buy these, as I already have an operating LMS mail coach and I'm fairly well supplied with LMS mainline stock. But these coaches are a little special. Other than the mail coach, they all have battery-operated lighting installed and interior detailing with passenger figures, etc. I was sufficiently intrigued by this to purchase them, especially since the price was reasonable for such a rake of coaches, even discounting the special features. The lights are switched on and off by tiny slider switches on the ends of the coaches. It's a bit hard to show the interior detailing in a photograph. These just came and I still haven't actually figured out how to open them up to get at the batteries. An initial inspection would tend to indicate that the bottoms of the coaches need to be taken off, as the roofs and ends appear firmly attached, whilst the bottoms are held on by plastic clips and so should be removable. You can actually probably see more of the interior detail in this picture without the lights. I haven't done any running with these coaches yet, although I did fix the coupling that came apart and I checked the axles. The lighted mainline coaches are older Hornby items. These coaches, on the other hand, are very old Triang items. They have the very early style of tension lock coupling with just a bar curved round from one side rather than the loop with a top lip that became standard later, and does indeed work much better. I bought these for a very specific reason. The 2 coaches seen at left here are push and pull units. That is to say that they have driving cabs at one end and were designed to run on short trains with a steam locomotive at the other end, where the train would be run back and forth without any change in its composition, being driven, when going with the engine at the back, from the driving cab in the rear coach, which was fitted with controls linked to the basic operating controls of the locomotive, the regulator, the reverser, the brake. A fireman in the loco would maintain the fire and water in the boiler. I bought these specifically to allow me to run shuttling trains on the shelf layout that I'm in process of building. They're actually based on BR items, but the LMS did run some push and pull trains, and I feel I'll be able to get away with these. I don't believe the LMS-specific push and pull units have ever been available in model form, except perhaps as kits. Speaking of kits, this is a kit-built locomotive that I bought on eBay UK. I've long lamented that the passenger locomotives used by the LNWR at the time of amalgamation into the LMS have been very poorly represented in OO gauge, only being available in kit form. The 3 main classes of locomotives serving the Western Main Line at the time of amalgamation in 1923 were the George V class, the Prince of Wales class and the Claughton class. These were the forerunners of the Royal Scots. None of these classes has ever been produced ready to run in OO gauge. I do have a Union Mills model of a Prince of Wales class locomotive in N gauge, and this is a kit-built representation of a George V class loco. The LMS number 5342 would make this locomotive Works number 4994, built for the LNWR in 1911 and withdrawn by the LMS in 1935. This engine was apparently named Boarhound, although I haven't been able to find a picture of it with nameplates, and I'm not sure if the LMS maintained the name. Of the 3 LNWR classes mentioned, the George V class was the smallest and the oldest, being a 440 first introduced in 1910. I'd really like to get a Clawton, a 460 class introduced in 1913, which constituted essentially the top-of-the-line Western Express class until the introduction of the Royal Scots. It's almost shocking to me that the Clawton class has been given so little due in model form. Anyway, when I saw this kit-built George V available on eBay at a reasonable price, I had to get it, although it required specially requesting the vendor to add international shipping. The price on this was £100, and it cost me around £150 shipped to Canada. That's not cheap, but on the rare occasions I've seen a kit-built Clawton offered for sale, the price was over 4 times that. Again, this is just a preview, and I haven't yet run this loco. A lot going on, as I say. These were another Wednesday arrival, 2 Hornby station roofs. These are intended to go on one of the terminus stations on my shelf layout, but they're going to be put aside for now, as neither of those stations actually exists yet. Neither does the layout. All I've done so far is to build the shelf and paint it. Here's the final arrival. These are the electronic shuttle control units for my upcoming shelf layout. It'll be a while before these get installed in their final form, controlling shuttling trains on the 2 lines of the shelf layout, if all goes well. But the first thing I'll be doing will be to hook them up to a small test track to verify that they actually function properly, fingers crossed, and all being well, that initial test should feature in a video quite soon. So that's it for now. Let's hope all goes well with these items and they'll all appear functioning in the not too distant future.